just suddenly wake up and go, we're banning these porn games. Who gets to be human in a system where policy decides what stories are allowed to exist? And more importantly, who profits from our silence? And the other thing is, some folks will look at the situation and go, wow, you must really care about your corn, bro. But that is simply not it, bro. Look, I'm not here trying to defend porn. Hell, I think it's a net negative for society. I think society would actually be better off if we didn't have any porn to begin with. I am here defending something that is deeper than that. And that's called creative freedom. Because when a medium like gaming gets put in the same category as exploitation, when adult-themed games are wiped from store shelves without any explanation by invisible hands, it's not about corn anymore, bro. It's simply about who gets to tell stories and who doesn't. Games are different. Games are interactive, layered, artistic. They don't just stimulate, they simulate. And they're not just videos to watch. They are worlds to explore, worlds to enter, worlds to be immersed in. And when those get censored, then we're not even talking about smut anymore. We're simply talking about sovereignty. So let's map out the real power players behind the Steam debacle, if you will. Because Valve didn't just wake up and say, you know what? I'm feeling like wiping out 500 plus adult-themed video games today. Just for fun. Ain't no way, man. This was always about pressure. But the question is, pressure from whom? Allow me to give you the first power player in all of this. First, we have Visa and MasterCard, the gatekeepers of liquidity, if you will. You see, analysts, these two process over 90% of all global transactions. You lose these guys, you basically lose your income overnight. And the funny thing is, they didn't say ban these games, right? They simply quietly updated their policies. That's all. They let some PR fires catch heat and simply waited for platforms to fall in line. And Valve did just that. So what is the power that these guys possess? It's simple. It's called financial structural power. This means that these guys don't ban you. They simply make it impossible for others to pay you. Let's move on to the second power player. So I don't know if you analysts have heard about this, but there is an Australian activist group making waves right now, and they're called Collective Shout.
Thanks for joining with us in believing there can be a better world. A world free from sexploitation. A world where the objectification of women and the sexualization of girls is no longer normal. Hi, I'm Melinda Tankard-Reist. I'm a co-founder of Collective Shout, and I want to extend my personal welcome to our community. We're a movement concerned about the increasing pornification of culture and the way its messages have become entrenched in mainstream society. A movement that knows that presenting distorted and dishonest ideas about women and girls and sexuality and relationships are harmful and damaging. Collective Shout is how we can make a difference together. We are a grassroots campaigns movement, but we don't exist without people like you, willing to bring our voices together as a collective shout.
And this group is chock full of hyper-moralistic feminists wanting to dictate and curate what is acceptable and not acceptable for society. So these guys, they lobbied Visa directly, bypassing Valve and the devs. You see, their weapon isn't money, it's reputation. They'll come at you and say something like, if you allow a game like this to be sold, you are complicit in exploitation. And I mean, bro, there is no company in the world that wants their name next to child abuse in a New York Times op-ed, especially not when investors are watching. So what kind of power do these guys possess? For these guys, it's called moral plus reputational power. They don't control the platform, they simply control the narrative. They're basically the woke movement that we were dealing with not too long ago. You know how woke activists would threaten and kind of blackmail devs and studios into pushing diversity and inclusion? They'll come to you and be like, wow, man, your product is awesome, but it really needs a few refinements in the diversity and inclusion sector, you know? How about you hire us and we'll actually do that for you? And if the studios go like, nah, we don't need any help with that, then they're like, oh, okay. So you're a homophobe now, I see. Oh, so you're sexist. You're racist. I'm gonna go tell Twitter. And then they drag your company's good name through the mud, forcing you to bend the knee and comply. That's basically what these guys do. And then, of course, the other player we have is called Steam or Valve. So what do these guys do? So these guys, they basically hold the keys to the kingdom. But here's the plot twist. They aren't actually kings. They are the castle walls, if you will. And when Valve comes knocking, banging at the door, they let Valve in and lock everybody else out. So what power do they possess? You guessed it. It's platform power. They have the power of the delete button, but they don't really own the button. It was more or less given to them. So then the question, the burning question that I have been banging my head trying to get an answer for, why now? Why in July 2025? Why did Visa pick this time, this moment in history to do this? Well, there is a multitude of factors that led to this in the first place. For example, the first factor that we have is reputation as a currency. Because you need to understand, analysts, these companies, these major corporations that you think are like untouchable, that you think can tank any sort of reputational harm or damage or risk, are actually, in fact, not as invincible as they seem. Almost everything about them is built for intimidation. Their size, their scale, their influence. When you look at it from the outside, you think these guys are powerful. They do whatever they want. But their Achilles heel is always their reputation. And there's a good reason for this. You see, Visa and MasterCard are publicly traded companies. And guess who their major shareholders are? Yep, good old BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. But I mean, are you guys surprised? Of course it would be these guys. Why wouldn't it be? We already know that these guys are not your moral crusaders. They are capital machines. And what is it that they fear the most? Regulatory backlash. It's like Judgment Day to them. I mean, imagine headlines like Visa enables simulated grape and incest games. That isn't a PR crisis or a nightmare. No, dear analyst, that is a shareholder lawsuit waiting to happen. So what do? They clamp down. Not because they care, but because money does. And then the second thing is